will keep on killing you. Again and again. I am your future. An eternity of slow, painful deaths.
Now, when you hear the words jailbreak, what do you think of? Most likely one or multiple convicts escaping jail. You're close when it comes to Furi, as you are held up in 10 prisons that are stacked upon each other above Earth, and all of this is to contain you, the player. Through the entire game, you play as a character who's either named Stranger or Ryder. We'll stick with Ryder. For a while, you've been tortured by this warden named The Chain.
I swear I'll put you right back in your cell. There's an easy way and a hard way. You choose.
When his back is turned, a man wearing a rabbit head, named The Voice, breaks you free and requests that you kill the jailer. Thus forwards us to the first boss. The Chain's personality is more of a cynical, self-assured attitude, as he is the most cruel guardian in the collected prisons. His main mechanic is his masks, that resemble, in order of appearance of course, Ona, which resembles a woman's mask, Okina, which resembles wisdom, and Hanaya, or Hanya, which resembles a female serpent or dragon expressing rage or sadness. I don't really get a connection with these masks, as 2 of them are for females and the Chain does not show any feminine features at all. Anyway, his purpose is to continuously torture you so you won't gather your strength back to break out. As he is the tutorial boss, he uses simple, easy telegraphed attacks so you learn the game's main mechanics.
You will be broken. You will go back to yourself.
After you kill him, you move to the next guardian, the Strap. The Strap Guardian, as the architect explains to you her origins, she just appeared one day, looking for something. She had powers, and since nobody could make any sense of her, they contained her. They used her for human experimentation. There is no explained reason of what they were trying to achieve with her. They did change her appearance drastically, as she has a large cannon attached to her face that shoots beams. She's also in a wheelchair to restrain her, and her body is now somewhat biomechanical. As the fight progresses, she starts using a scythe that's lodged in the back of her wheelchair. Once she was used up by the scientists, they left her in her cell to rot and become insane. Later on, as she gets more and more free, she starts acting more of like an animal, and her insanity causes her to hit her head on the wall, just becoming an unpredictable boss. In the wiki, it says that her cell was made and centered around the other prisons before the Rider appeared, and the only reason for her living is just to be an unpredictable force to stop the Rider. Which, it's kind of curious just because, well, what if the Strap actually did break out? How far would she go? Would she actually make it back to Earth? Or, I don't know, I feel like this is a cool concept of what if she broke out instead and the Rider never existed? Anyway, once the Rider kills her, we then meet the Line.
Welcome, stranger. I have been looking forward to this moment. I foretold you escape, but not how far you would get. I am glad you made it to me. Time is a picture in motion through eternity. When you appeared, everything got still. You made the picture stop. I'm here to make my clocks tick again.
The Lion is the oldest out of the rest of the Guardians. He's very monotone and only expressed emotions such as anger when he sees the rider. He has the ability of stopping time and reversing time, but he once had the ability of seeing the future, all the way until the rider's arrival of his escape. And that's how he warned everybody of forging another prison and being prepared of the invasion. Since he only see the rider's arrival to Earth and his escape, which this later on foreshadows to the Lion's death, of course. At first, this battle was the only roadblock that took me multiple attempts just because he deflects your projectiles until you go through his barriers. After that, he uses close quarters combat, but since of his old age, his attacks are easily telegraphed and slow, just like the first boss. He does carry a big sword, which could be another disadvantage for him, but I do love his headphones a lot. Like, this man really be vibing on lo-fi, like hip-hop to sleep and study to.
Everything was meant to be.
After the line, there's a scale.
Look at the if. Darkness. Look at me. Don't look so horrified. You're staring at yourself. You did this to me. Finally.
The scale is one of the few Guardians to have little to no background info on. The architect quoted that years of evolution, culture, civilization, great intellect, wonders of nature, bam, wiped out. I'm guessing that we destroyed the scale's home, but to contradict on that statement, the scale keeps on relating himself to you as the same person, and even your armor is similar to his, just a different color. As the fight commences, the scale will try to hit you with toxin. This toxin will affect your vision and can mess up your aim and attacks, but for his attacks, they're fine as long as you can parry on time.
Will we share his fate, or will life take an unexpected turn? Hope comes from the strangest places.
He who knows no fear, knows no courage. I take mine from you. We are what we fight for. I look at you, stranger, and I see nothing. Desolation. Death. You are alone. I am fighting for something much greater than this. Can you imagine the strength that gives me? I doubt it. And so your fight ends here.
The hand is one of the saddest fights. Not that it's disappointing, it's just the context behind it. As you walk into the 5th prison, you see a kid run into a man, which is basically the hand. That's his son. Which is confusing because why would you want to bring your son into a prison that's supposed to last forever? Like, this prison, the way that this prison works, nobody ages. Nobody can age. So nobody can die of old age. So, and then the only way that it can be destroyed is if it just goes through the end of time. And that would mean that everybody's dead. So, anyway, during the fight, I felt a little bit of guilt just because I didn't want to kill him to progress through the story. And if I did kill him, then I just made his son an orphan, feel more hesitant, and think of his actions before doing them instead of just being a mindless soldier. He actually starts gaining a conscience in a way. I'll figure out what's right and what's wrong.
I won't let you.
The song is described by the voice as arrogant and self-righteous.
Walk with me. It was all a mistake. The cell, the restraints, the guardians.
But she appears to be caring and
We
passionate
can
about her
make this
purpose.
right. You can't go to my world, but you can be free here. Look at what I'm offering. This can be your home. I'll take care of you.
This can actually trigger a special ending. If you wait 5 minutes, the writer will actually sit with her until the end of time,
tell
just
you the
telling
tales of
stories of
my
each
world.
other, of
You
where
will
they
tell
came
me
from and how
yours.
the world works.
There is so much to enjoy here.
Or you can choose to ignore her.
Stay with me.
Psych!
Why are you leaving? What's not to like here? How dare you shun me and turn down all of this? You have no idea. I was your only hope. You have brought this upon yourself, stranger.
Her fight is one of the biggest bullet hells in the game, and her armor obviously symbolizes an angel, and her prison is designed as her concept of heaven. Another thing to add is how good the music is in this fight. Like, god damn, this is bop right here. And this just the music alone places her in a high A to B tier of a good boss in this game. After you beat her, the writer actually shows signs of hesitation as he strikes the song down, which reevaluates your view on if is it right to keep on killing these guardians as they seem to be good people, and maybe you're the bad guy in this story, trying to escape. You don't think of it too much.
This will eat you up inside for the rest of your days.
As you continue to the next prison, you realize that there's no guardian. the voice appears saying that he had taken care of him. He didn't want the writer to do all the work. This raises even more suspicion, but isn't really followed up on. The Burst.
I like her.
The Burst is the most aggravating boss in the entire game. Like, for context, she's a hunter that's really good at her job. She's overconfident, but has the skills to back her up. She has drones that act as her sights as she runs throughout the map, trying to get a clear shot of the rider.
Now you're mine. Go get him, boys. This is not a drill.
Another one of those bosses that took out all 3 of my lives and made me restart the entire fight. But I will say, if you parry her attacks perfectly and cause an execution, it's so satisfying. But on her last phase, she turns completely invisible to the player and only shows a glimpse of light before her attacks, which can be hard to time.
That's enough. Assuming manual control.
That was sweet. You beat her at her own game. She was a cheater anyway.
Then we reach the Edge. The Edge is a highly respectable warrior that uses a katana and smaller blade.
You sure took your time. I was concerned you wouldn't make it this far. This is a big day for me. I've been waiting a long time for this moment. Let me show you.
He shows no resentment towards the rider. In fact, the Edge encourages him to do better when the rider is defeated.
Come on, get back up. You can't give up now.
Which, I mean, at times I'm like, I get that. The only reason that the Edge became a Guardian is to improve on his martial arts. And whenever the rider gets to him, it's like his ultimate test of his skill.
You move well. You're reading me quite quickly. Let's see how predictable you think I am now.
In addition, he wears very similar armor like the Riders. He also holds supernatural strength, but is no way related to the Rider as well. He's only just a Sasuke to his Naruto. This is the only fight that I didn't get mad at for losing multiple times, just because of his motivational quotes. Like, this man is a bro to me. Then we reach the last Guardian, the Bee. The Bee is the 10th and final guardian that you have to defeat to reach freedom.
You're not what I was expecting.
It's sad that she isn't taken seriously by the other Guardians and all she wanted to do was make a difference in the world. But the other Guardians still placed her in, not thinking that the rider will get past. Other Guardians did not think that the rider would get past the edge. Most of her dialogue is her trying to understand the rider. She believes that you're not different than the rest of the people who say you are. And as she is the weakest of the Guardians and the youngest, she mainly attacks with her turrets, but during her close quarters combat section, she's terrible. I honestly feel really bad for her because the rest of the Guardians thought of her as a joke since she was young and naive, but knew that she was a child prodigy, so that was the only way that she got in. So this determined to get me out, just have me stay in this prison. Maybe it's for a good reason.
Please, hold my hand.
This is it, my friend. It's been hard, I know. She was the last. Finally, going through that door. It's everything we have been fighting for. You are not who you were when you first landed out there. We all have choices to make. We all have to decide what's worth fighting for.
As the rider finally made it to Earth, as we walk around, we notice that the plants start to turn black and wither, and the soil becomes black and hardened. This was one of the main reasons why they locked us away from Earth, so that we won't destroy it. After the credits roll, you can free roam past two villages. One's empty and the other one has a little girl running around, and she approaches her father.
So now you know. Maybe you think I'm insane, or maybe you understand. You were my only chance. I hoped it would change you. I think it did. Doesn't really matter. What does matter is what you are going to do.
The voice, whose real name is actually the architect, and he is the dude that made the prison, basically, and also made the prison for the strap. After that, you can head into this tower, which was your center of location when you first landed on Earth.
Acquiring rider. Resuming flight plan.
Along, the rider heads back to his mothership. As you pass by people in cryo/sleep chambers that, for some reason, they look exactly like you, which comes to believe that this is some sort of process of your scouts sent to Earth just to gather info to see if Earth is inhabitable for you. Once the rider reaches the mainframe of the ship, we are introduced by an AI named the Star that instructs them on their duties. From the info, it gives we are looking for a suitable planet that we can inhabit, and the only criteria is that if we step in it, none of the organisms in there will like wither and die, or none of the landscapes will be infested by us. We are then given a choice. If the planet is not habitable, then we destroy it. So we were given two choices: to destroy Earth or go against the mothership. And so if you do go against Earth, it will obviously blow up, and it shows the architect just sitting there, just facing his death. If you do go against the Star and defeat it, it saves Earth and you earn the true.
Proceed with rider utilization.
All in all, I think Furi is a great hack and slash game made by the game bakers. There's no game like this, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I never see a game like this ever again. But like, it shows a lot of replayability as a harder difficulty is introduced called Furier, or you can just go back on bosses to get either a better time or a better ranking, just to speed run it. And through that, you get rewarded by concept art, which of each of the bosses. At the end, this game really holds a special place in my heart. I didn't get the DLC, the 2 extra bosses, the Flame and Bernard, and I'm honestly fine with that. I don't know if I'm ever gonna get it. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. Like, I've spent a lot of time making the script for this and then editing. So if you have made it this far, please leave a like and subscribe. It really does help me out. But yeah, thanks.